everybody? This is your host, Huge Pop, the Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast. We are down one guy tonight, and I don't know if Nikki D will have any statements to make about this because Nikki D is feeling under the weather, and he came in. Rico is here, but Cody Cornett is not. He says to me he's not feeling good and stuff like that, and he's busy. He has to go out in the cold weather tomorrow and all this stuff. Hey, I love you, Cody. I wish you hope. I hope you feel better. I hope you have a good day. But Nikki, thank you for coming aboard tonight because you are feeling.
It's all right,
good.
Cody. I got your back, man. You're good, bro. You're
good. Cody's defense, though, last week was when I was dying. I'm gradually getting better. I've got like at least 1 foot out of the grave this week, so I'm good.
Awesome. So it's Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast. This is the first week. So I was told that we needed a name. So Tuesday Night Throwdown is what I came up with. TNT. This is our name for the Tuesday night show. It may be on Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, but it's still gonna be called Tuesday Night Throwdown. So we're gonna where we recap Monday Night Raw and any PLE that came up. So this week we just got done watching Royal Rumble and Monday Night Raw last night. So we're gonna go through Royal Rumble today, and I'm gonna go through Monday Night Raw as quick as possible because I know I gotta get to bed. I know Rico gotta get to bed, and Nikki D getting 1 foot out of the grave is probably tired as well. So thank you guys for coming aboard.
Thank you.
What did you guys think of the Royal Rumble in itself, a whole? What do you think?
As a whole, I enjoyed it. You know, there was a couple spots that like bugged me, but you know what? I was like, put that aside. As a whole, I kind of like the whole thing. You know, I really liked the KO and Cody match, man. I freaking love that match. And even the tag team match, that was great. And the men's and women's Rumble was good. And like I said, there was some hiccups here or there, but you know, things went not the way I thought they should have went, but I thought they did a good job. So I honestly would give it like give it a B plus.
All right. Nikki D, man.
I was absolutely entertained by it. As I shared with you guys before, I wasn't able to watch it live as it happened. So I had to go back and watch it. And I heard who the winners were and everything. And it was kind of, oh, geez, okay. I wonder, you know, where they're going with that or how that happened. And knowing the results, but not knowing how they got to that makes you feel one way. But then when I was able to actually sit and put eyes on the product and I watched it, I was entertained. I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't entertained. I was absolutely entertained by it. And I was shocked because I went into it watching it thinking, what are they doing? You know, like I got the winners, of course, first of each of the Rumble matches. And I'm just in my mind, I'm thinking, where are they going? You know, how's this going to work? And then of like the tag team match and all the stuff that happened there. And I'm like, how does this work? Like, what's going on? But it's one thing to know that, you know, the end result. But then when you watch the storytelling of how they get to that point, I was like, okay, you know, so I enjoyed it. And that's the thing. It's sports entertainment. And if you're entertained by it, that's a win. And I was absolutely entertained. I was so entertained. I love the men's Rumble. I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I did the men's Rumble match. I absolutely did. A lot of different things happening there. A lot of different stories within the story. You know what I mean? And it just was, to watch it all happen was cool.
Yeah, I was going to say that this is like, sorry, Huge Pop. This is like Royal Rumble is my number 2 favorite pay-per-view, man. Mm-hmm. Besides WrestleMania, you got WrestleMania and then Royal Rumble. Like those are two right there. So I just love Royal Rumble.
I thought it was a good show. Very, like Nikki D said, very entertaining. Very entertaining. I had a chance to watch it with 15 young kids that probably some of them never watched Rumble before. So we drew numbers and they got behind their guy and their girl. It was unbelievable to watch these kids. It was like you were at the stadium with the crowd going bananas.
That's awesome.
It was fun just watching the kids. So we had a Royal Rumble party. It was fun to watch the kids get excited about that. And like Nikki D and Rico said, you know, shocked. I was big time shocked. I don't think anybody on the Huge Pop Wrestling podcast seen the winner of the men's coming.
Nope.
I didn't
Did
think
not see that coming at all. That was a good twist.
You know,
Yeah.
of course, the women's, some of us picked, Charlotte to win that. We've seen that coming. That was pretty much given to us by her vignettes that she's been doing.
Yeah.
But by far, I'm going to get hell from this, but by far, I feel the KO Cody Rhodes show performance was by far the best match of the night. And the tag team match, I would say, has to be up there as second for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because,
Absolutely.
like you guys pointed out, there were some glitches in the system with the Royal Rumble, both men's and women's, that we can get into once we start talking about it. But I'd give it a B, yeah, for some, but based on because of the things that we'll talk about, of both matches, Royal Rumble matches. So let's talk about the Machine Guns and DIY match. Did anybody see the Street Profits coming in? Did anybody expect that?
No, I seriously thought I did not in a million years see Street Profits come out of nowhere. That was the last thing on my mind. It was them getting involved.
Yeah. I mean, you're supposed to expect the unexpected, right? We've heard that since I don't know. I mean, since Vince, was running, he would say expect the unexpected, and sometimes you would get that, but oftentimes you knew what was coming. You know what I mean? You kind of knew what was coming. You're like, okay, yeah, that's predictable, and that's it. Dude, that was a swerve. That I was like, what? And you're confused by it, but then it's hard to be upset about it because you're like, that's kind of cool. I didn't expect that, but
I loved
that
it.
kind of works.
When they came out and started beating down, I was like, I like this. I'm not complaining whatsoever.
Right.
And I felt like I wanted to, you know what I mean? I wanted to complain, but I'm like, this is kind of cool because it's something. And again, Street Profits are they're fantastic. Yeah. And I felt like for a while they were being pulled apart.
Right.
And, to see it individually as singles competitors, they are good. They're very good. But together, they are amazing. And so for a while, they were just kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say they're forgotten about, but they were doing all of the ads for the merchandise and things like that. And you would see them, you know what I mean? But they weren't really being pushed. So when they came out and they started, they just were basically flipping character. You know what I mean? I was shocked at first, and I'm like, all right, I'm down with this, man. This is cool.
Right. No, so swerving is what you said. Swerve. I was swerved. That was a big swerve on.
Yeah.
They pulled it off because last time we seen them we were talking Dawkins and Montel. They were going to break up. That's what the angle looked like they were going to do because we all talked, hey, they should just break them up. There should be a heel turn.
Yeah.
But like you said, Nikki D, they're better together.
You know what that really reminded me of? Sorry.
Go ahead.
Remember when back in the day when we kind of saw where man, are the Usos going to break up?
Yes.
And then they turned heel. Yes. And you're just like, I mean, just recently, New Day.
Yes. I was just going to say that. New Day. Yeah. New Day. We all thought, every one of us thought, and they were building up to that. They're going to split. New Day's another team. They're just out there pumping the merchandise. You know what I mean? Everybody loves them, but they're not really doing anything on the tag team. You know what I mean? Chasing championships or anything like that. And they tease that. And not only do they not break up, they go heel and they're like dynamite.
Right.
So,
same thing with the Street Profits. Now they're heel.
Yep.
Obviously. And storytelling. Holy cow. That is just starting that match did everything. I mean, I wanted the Machine Guns to win, but I see the story that they're doing, and it's pretty cool. I would bet you there's a triple threat tag team match, probably WrestleMania, if not at ladder match, if not at Elimination Chamber.
That's what I'm saying too. It's like they created like a branch, if you will. This could go one way. You could have just had a clear winner, and they could have whoever won could have gone on and maybe feuded with the Street Profits or something like that. But the way they did it there was boom. They created multiple things. So now there's heat. There's all this stuff. And you have 3 teams and we know from history, like you get 3 teams together in like a ladder match or something like that, especially those 3 teams.
Yep.
Oh man, forget about it. I think of like the Dudleys and the Hardys and Edge and Christian and the epic matches that they had. That's what you're looking at here with these guys.
100%. 100%. My brother and I talked about the Machine Guns and those guys. They're just what you said, the Dudleys, the Hardys, the Edge and Christian.
Yep. Classics. Those are classics.
Those 3 teams can step into those guys' spot and give banger after banger matches, So I'm excited about that. That was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
I love that match. So then we get to the match that, well, you know who I picked to win that match, but we got Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens. And
so I got to ask this to Huge Pop. I got to ask you. Were you at all at least a little satisfied with how vindictive Cody was getting?
That match did not disappoint me whatsoever. I'm glad, like I said, I don't know if I said it with you guys, his promo and his stuff he's been doing the last Monday and Friday nights leading up to the Rumble. Gold. I hope they keep going with heel. I hope he turns heel and more than he already has. He was so, I thought for sure at one moment in time at the end of that match, KO was going to get his ass beat hardcore.
Mm-hmm. But when he was walking back to go stand on it, I thought he was going to jump him. I was like, yes. Here we go.
And that match, oh my God. And my favorite part of that match was how they inserted Sami Zayn.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing storytelling. Because here's Sami Zayn going, oh my God, my best friend KO is freaking through the ladder looking like a pretzel. But do I help Cody Rhodes because he's struggling? What do I do?
Mm-hmm.
And it made for an amazing ladder match. 100%. Now, hands down, 100%, 110% done well.
That final putting him through the ladder, I cringed. I was like, oh,
tell me that didn't hurt. Tell me that didn't hurt. If you could tell me that didn't hurt, hell.
Man.
Are you referring to the when they were on the announce table?
And he put him through that ladder?
It looked like he didn't even stop. Normally a ladder breaks your fall. Bam! Oh, if he is not hurt, he's immortal. Because, dude, that looked like it hurt.
Yes. No, man, that match was off the charts.
Oh, yeah. They were fantastic.
That could have easily finished the show.
Oh, yeah.
And see, that's what I'm saying. I'm glad we're talking about, because what do we remember most about that? I can tell you what I remember most about the Royal Rumble, and it's the ending of that Cody Rhodes match. Finally, thank you, WWE. Thank you so much for showcasing your superstar champion. And that's what I was talking about. They finally did that. Yet it was the semi-main event, but they did it.
It stole the show that night.
Stole the show. They went out there and stole the show. And nobody's going to think like that match, the champion, you know what I mean? He's not an afterthought.
No.
Not an afterthought.
Thank you. And that's why I say thank you, WWE, because leading up to this, you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, leading up to this, Cody Rhodes did not get that match. That was a hell of a match he got put in.
Well, for me, it was a hell of a match, but it was the buildup before it.
Yes.
Because his last couple matches, the only buildup he had was Roman Reigns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the other matches were kind of just thrown together.
They were thrown together.
100%.
Yeah.
And
so the KO, like you had that story being built up and built up. And then they put together this phenomenal match. And you're like, okay, gold.
Yeah, I don't know how they did that because initially I was not really invested in that feud. I thought that's a feud that makes no sense. But then with the promos and they made you see that's the thing. And I don't mean to go off on well, it's still talking about Cody Rhodes, but you were saying like you both were kind of thinking he's getting kind of heelish and stuff like that. When I watch him though, I feel like he's just being more real. You know what I mean?
Yes.
He's convincing. Like I don't know if I want him to go. If he does, it's fine. Because Cody was heel before and Cody's really good at his job. But I love him as a face because I love watching that guy interact with the fans, specifically the kids.
Yes.
He's one of the top baby faces in the company. There's nobody that can tell me otherwise.
Right.
And he takes his time. You know, he's not like I'm too good for you type how some of the people, you know, some people get in that position and their heads get really big and
yeah.
He's so down to earth and I love watching how he is. And I just feel like if he went full on heel, I don't know. He can still be how he is. Like, I don't know, even with his back and forth promos, like, you know, his stuff, like for instance, with CM Punk, you know,
yeah,
that was real. Like they were just like really, really talking stuff. I was like, that's a kind of a different side of Cody, but not like you've seen him before be a jerk, but I don't know. I guess that's my question to you guys. Do you think they're really trying to have that slow turn to where he's heel, or is he just being more real and he's still going to be the same Cody?
I think he's just being more real. Like eventually there will be a heel turn, but it's going to be a very slow build to it, and he's just going to get more aggressive as time goes on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think let's back up to Roman Reigns coming into the locker room 5 years ago and be with Paul Heyman and coming out and winning the belt, right? That was Roman Reigns, an angry Roman Reigns. Everybody got behind that. Everybody got behind that. So I wouldn't necessarily call him a heel at that moment, right? And everybody followed him for 5 years, right?
Yep.
And Cody Rhodes, I think he can be in his spot right now. I love how he's being more personable because it's bringing out anger, and bringing out frustration, bringing out what we really want to see. I don't know if you have to turn him heel to continue that, you know, because you're like you said, Nikki, you can't be a heel and shake hands with the little kids at the side.
Yeah,
that'd just be weird. So it's just gonna be fun to see where they go with him. But I'm thankful that they did he showcased that on Saturday night, and that was just phenomenal.
There's something unlocked it. It always takes something or maybe somebody to unlock it. And Kevin Owens helped to. I mean, you like all his stuff with Seth. You know what I mean? When he came back and there was like that heat or whatever. You know that it wasn't like legitimate. Right. Like he worked with him when Seth was young, and he had his first match against Seth. You know what I mean? Like, so there's all these things where it's like, is the heat legitimate? Like those two, him and KO, that was like it just seemed legitimate, like some real heat. And sometimes it just takes a special something, a situation, or I don't know if you guys remember this, but like you were talking about with Roman Reigns, I remember there was Mark Henry. There was he's talked about it too. There was like a SmackDown or something like that, like a TV taping, where they intentionally didn't send his opponent out. So he stood there in the ring on TV and no one came down, and he was embarrassed. He was embarrassed and he was furious. He was livid. And like Vince and all them took off and left, and then he was hot. And he was talking to him. He demanded an explanation, or he was like, when they talked to him, he was just like, Mark Henry's Mark Henry, dude. That's a scary guy. And I'm paraphrasing here, but he said Vince pulled up the tape and showed it to him. And he said, you see that guy? You see that face? That's the Mark Henry I need. And that is when he started that Hall of Pain. And that's when he became that Mark Henry, not the sexual chocolate, you know, the big lovey guy and all that stuff. That's what changed him into that, was that real life situation that happened to him. That was their way of, I think you can actually get the story, because I've heard him talk about it a couple of times, but I think one time he talked about it was on the Broken Skull podcast with Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Stone Cold brought it up and was talking to him about it, and Mark Henry shared it with you. If you guys get a chance, it's great. It's just great, because it changed him. It was like the evolution of Mark Henry. He became a different version of him, but sometimes it just takes that something to, you can see it. You can see it. You see when it happened with Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns was like he was always smiling. You know, when they were trying to push him, when he was a heel or whether he was face, he was always the same until John Cena got him. And he got him in that promo, and he ticked him off. And that was Roman. That's the Roman you see now. So he helped create that, you know, version of Roman that we have right now. That's what it took to wake him up, because Roman got ticked, man.
Yeah, I remember that. And I think what happened for Cody, I really do. It was only like, it's only been a short period of time, but when KO took that winged eagle belt and said, "Screw you, this is mine," he took that around for what, 2 or 3 weeks.
Yep.
That pissed Cody Rhodes up, because that's the belt Cody Rhodes never had, right? That he never had that. And now you're gonna prance around like you're a badass about taking the belt that I want. That pissed them all. That switch, I think that flipped the switch for Cody Rhodes, and he became something else. Promo after promo. You can see the anger in his eyes. Like, dude, stop disrespecting this company. And you got KO, probably one of the best stars in the business. He played that part really well, like he does everything.
Is there anybody right now at that level, like I would almost say like at a Shawn Michaels level? Is there anybody else like that other than KO who can lose a match but make his opponent look great, and he looks great too in a lot?
I think you've seen that.
Yeah, he's selfless. You think about the people in the business that really get somewhere. You know, like Jim Cornette has talked about it a lot. You got people like Undertaker, you know, the guys who care more about the whole and to make their opponent look good, and they care about the business. Like, and Michaels would make a lot. He would sell his butt off to make it. Yeah, he was a selfish jerk back in the day, but man, he could make you look good. And even in a loss.
And I think you've seen that at the end of the Men's Royal Rumble. If you watched it, you've seen Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, all on the outside. And they made everybody look good. And they started that story. Now we got a story going, right? I mean, I mean, that would be the top. Insert KO and Sami Zayn. I think those guys, unchartably, those guys are probably, they love the business.
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt about it. No doubt.
There's one more I want to throw in there, man, that I guess just because I love the guy, man. I don't think he gets thrown around much anymore, is The Miz.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That guy he can make everybody look good. And he can make the crowd hate him, and he loves it, and he does such a great job at it.
And he's unselfish. He is unselfish. He did that whole main event thing, you know, what was that, when he was fighting Cena, and he was completely overlooked, but he did his job. He did, like people don't even remember him, that he was a part of that as The Rock was building that feud with Cena, because The Rock was just the special guest, what did they call it? Host or something like that.
A host.
Yeah, he was just the host of WrestleMania. But yet that all was set up to build them. And the Miz was in there. He could have been like, what the heck am I? Like, I'm like nothing.
Right.
I'm like nobody. I'm just here.
Yep.
But he didn't. He took it and he ran with it. That was that time he even came out to the Rock's music dressed like the Rock. He had the whole thing on. Dude, he took it and ran with it. I'm glad you brought him up, Reek. He's very, very unselfish.
I remember listening to his interview about that where he came out as the Rock. They brought it up to him and he goes, "Are you serious?" And Maurice was talking about it. He's like, "Yeah." It just said once he put the gear on, you just you see the change. Like he became the Rock.
And we'll talk about another guy that is amazing when we talk about the men's Royal Rumble. What do you guys think about the women's Royal Rumble?
Okay. Can I just get this off my chest real quick?
Go ahead.
How in the world, first of all, thank you so much for bringing Alexa back.
Yes.
But how in the world are you just going to have her get eliminated after a couple minutes, man? Seriously. Yeah. The girl who got the biggest pop the whole night, I don't care what anybody says, that place erupted when her music hit. And after a couple minutes, Liv Morgan just tosses her out.
You're right. I agree with you. I wondered what the heck is that about, right? Why is she not going further in the Rumble? Obviously, we knew that she wasn't going to win the Rumble. Maybe that's why they saved her for that. But
at least Final Four.
Yes. My brother pointed this out. I was watching again. We had a bunch of kids in the room and we're watching this show. Of everybody there, you got to give her props, Alexa Bliss props. All the way from her performance in the ring and her entrance. She brought the baby doll back down.
Mm-hmm.
All her whole coat, things on her coat, on the back of her coat, the letters that were in highlighter or sparkles, spelt the Fiend.
Mm-hmm.
When they spelt friend, it spelt Fiend and gold and whatever. She had everything Bray Wyatt-esque.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that was very good on WWE's part to let that happen. That was amazing. So props to WWE for that. My complaint about the Royal Rumbles, both sets, they did the same thing. The first 5, you get a heel in there with 4 faces, and they get all bounced out of over opposite ropes. They're on the side of the thing. They stand up, they come in the ring together, and they beat down the heel with their signature moves. If you go back and watch it, you'll see the first 5 on the men's and first 5 on the women's do the same damn thing. I was like, scripted much? That to me made that look so stupid scripted that I didn't want to see. I enjoyed them after that, but it was crazy. But back to the women's. Then were you surprised that Charlotte Flair won?
No, I mean, I think we all kind of saw that coming, honestly. And here, my thing is, somebody was showing me an old promo of Charlotte and Alexa, and much respect to Charlotte, man, Queen, hands down, one of the best, if not the best, female wrestler, man. But I love what Alexa said. Charlotte, who knows anything about you without that title? If you don't have a title, who's talking about you? You have to have a title to be relevant. And that's when she won, I was just like, it's like they're pushing her to get a title. Once again, no disrespect to Charlotte, man. She does deserve it, but in the same sense, it's like, I don't think she needs a title, man. She's great without it. Let her shine without it.
Who's she going to go after, Rico? Tiffy Time or Rhea?
For me, I personally think it's going to be Rhea. The reason why I think it's going to be Rhea is because Rhea is the one who took it from her. And she never got a chance to get it back. Because Tiffy, I think they're going to do like a, Nia and Tiffy going at it.
What about you, Nikki D?
It's hard to say. And I don't mean to jump ahead to Raw, but it's the crowd. The crowd, how they react to things, and it dictates a lot. I mean, they listen. Whether Triple H listens, let's just put it that way. He listens to the fans, and I don't know. The Rhea would make sense, but I almost feel like she's probably going to go after Tiffany because I don't know. Like her and Ripley have history, all going all the way back to NXT. We all know the history, years, but her and Tiffany, there's nothing has happened, and so I don't know. I don't know. Her and Rhea would make more sense, but I have a feeling it's going to be Tiffany, and I don't know. I don't know if as fans, gosh, I wish there was a poll we could take. I don't know who would be interested in seeing that over seeing her and Rhea, because Charlotte is different, yes, and she's kind of evolved, but Rhea has really evolved. Like she's not the same Rhea Ripley she fought in NXT. She's not the same Rhea Ripley who was on her hot streak and then Charlotte beat her. She's not even the same Rhea Ripley that dethroned her. This is a whole new animal. And I would love to see that. Personally, me, that's what I would vote for. But
what about Julia? She is going to NXT.
Yeah, that's a bad woman. Holy crap.
Oh, that's right. You know what? Because I just said that. The fight in NXT, because you can choose whatever champ you want, even the NXT champ. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, she said it. She's going to NXT, so.
Oh, well.
That would be a match.
That would be cool. That would be cool because it would be. I don't know, though. Yeah, again, you're talking about the winner. The winner of the Rumble match gets that match happens. I don't know. There's a lot of different variables to look at. That's a WrestleMania match. You know what I mean? So
I think NXT title change would be something better on Raw or SmackDown. I'm not bashing NXT at all because they're great performers. But do the fans want to see the winner of the Royal Rumble face an NXT lady and main? I don't ever think NXT champion ever showcased WrestleMania, have they?
Well, remember Charlotte when she won the Royal Rumble, she challenged Rhea, wasn't it?
that
Rhea?
was because Rhea was different. You know what I mean? It was like I don't know. It's just she was ready. She was already like main roster ready. Kind of like Adam Cole and Pete Dunne when they were NXT guys and they fought at whatever pay-per-view that was and they tore the house down.
Yeah,
like it's just Bianca Belair. She's another one that popped up at like a Survivor Series or I don't know, something like that. Like there's some people who are just and to Huge Pop's point, that's what I was saying. I don't know that. I know she won the Rumble before and she challenged for that championship when Rhea had it, younger Rhea, but I don't know. Again, you're talking about a WrestleMania main event. I don't know. I just don't see it. I don't see it.
So let's move on to the men's Royal Rumble. What was your hot take, Rico, and how do you feel about the winner?
I was surprised Jay won, honestly. We all talked about in the show. Everybody thought it might be Cena or at least CM Punk. So when CM Punk, Roman, and Seth are outside, I'm like, okay, this just got interesting. But we all still thought Cena was going to win. But when Cena hit that floor, I was like, whoa. I mean, I'm happy, very happy for him. But that was a twist right there. I got to say my favorite moment in that Rumble is when AJ came back.
Yes.
And that music hit, man. I was so ecstatic.
What was your least favorite moment?
Let me see. Bringing Logan Paul in at number 30. I'm sorry. I ain't got nothing against Logan Paul. He's shown that he can wrestle. He's shown that he can cut promos. He's great on the mic. But bringing him in at number 30, I didn't agree with that very much.
I was screaming at the TV. I was like, are you kidding? How the hell are you bringing Logan Paul in at 30 and give him a shot?
That was intentionally to get, sorry to cut you off, Rico. That was intentionally to get heat. Unlike the ladies' Rumble match where it was like, yay, surprise comeback for Nikki Bella, and the fans were like, what?
That was dumb too. I didn't like that either. I was like, Nikki Bella, no.
Well, I think it's because everybody had it up to, everybody was like AJ.
Oh, you talk about AJ Lee?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody was hoping for AJ. So when Nikki came out, it was just like, whoa, what the? I mean, hey,
nobody cared, dude. Nobody cared. Gosh.
I'm like, come on, man. AJ would have been a better fit, I think.
If that music, she would have got a better pop than Alexa. 100%. I'm sorry to say.
The roof would have blown off that place because they're just waiting for it. I don't know that it'll ever happen, but they're waiting for it. Yeah, that would have been huge. But yeah, Nikki Bella. But again, that was an unintentional heat. Like they just were like, we don't care to see you. But it was intentional when they brought your boy Logan Paul out. That was intentional. That was, come on out, man, because you're gonna piss everybody off, and that's what you want to do anyway. That's what you do. And he loved it. He loved every second of it.
What was your hot take on Nikki D and your disappointment?
It's hard to find. Well, the part of me that was disappointed was I don't know why, but when Roman was eliminating Seth and then CM Punk threw them both out, I was like, how dare you? Because I don't know. I just acknowledge the tribal chief, man. It's like, dude, he's just that guy. And Seth Rollins is awesome, and I love CM Punk. But when he did that, it was like I felt like a part of my dream died or something, man. I was like, oh no. And then before I could really process it, then he gets dumped by the slime ball. That freaking Logan Paul comes out of nowhere, and I was like, are you kidding me? It just instant heat. So in that, I thought that was, but again, that's heat that they want. Mm-hmm. But as far as the finish goes, I was, again, if it was just like a clean whatever, just, they're both in there and someone gets thrown over and that's how they're eliminated, I would have felt differently about it. But again, like I said, there's a way that they did it and they told the story, and those two were magnificent. For starters, when I realized it was down to those two and the crowd was like half and half, and then they're hitting each other, and it's like the crowd, you could hear the pin drop. They're waiting for the punch to land, and they go, yeet. And then Cena hits and they go, whoa. And they're like doing all this stuff. They were so into every single move those guys did. And those two just like, they fed into each other. They complemented each other. And that end sequence was so cool. That was so cool on the outside of the ropes. And then like Cena looks and realizes where he's at, on the apron. And then Jay's out there. And that whole thing was like, I don't know. It was like when it happened, I was surprised, but I was like, yeah, you know what? You deserve that, bud. You deserve that because that was good. I felt devastated though, because that's the last time he'll ever be in a Royal Rumble. That's it for him.
Yep.
And so that was where I felt like another part of me, and that not sound like a mark or like a 12-year-old fan here, but there's another part that died, man, because I was like, he'll never get a chance to win another Royal Rumble. That was it.
Sure.
And so when he went out, I was like, oh, no. But at the same time, it was hard to be upset because the way they did that, the way they told that story. And then when he got in there afterwards and he's just literally passing the torch to Jay, it's very unselfish.
That was
very unselfish.
That was my favorite part of the night. The ending of
that was, and people do, like when he's pointing, he's like, look, like this is for you. Yeah. They're standing for you, after he gave him a hug and everything. It was like, I loved every part of that, even though I felt something die inside because I wanted him to win. I really, really wanted him to win. So
I loved how they started the match. You had Ray. Why not have Ray and Penta? That was,
I didn't expect that.
Right.
I didn't expect that at all.
Then you had Andrade come in, and I think was it Dragon Lee? There's 4 luchas.
Yeah. They all ended up in there together. It was like
with Chad Gable in the middle. That was epic.
Yeah.
That was fun to watch. My least favorite moment, and again, this is probably nitpicky, and I've always said I don't understand why WWE does this at WrestleManias a lot with Mike Tyson, Pete Rose, all these dumb gimmick, stupid, idiotic, freaking.
I know where you're going.
Dumbness. Although I love Braun Breaker's spear, that freaking looked like it hurt like a bitch. But I Speed 9 or I Speed or whatever his name is.
I don't even know who that guy is.
He's a YouTuber, right? Jaylee knows it. Jaylee's the one who told me who he is. So I know everything I know about him from my daughters.
I Speed or something like that. Whatever.
I Show Speed
has no business coming down in freaking slides and doing a backflip and getting crushed. And then people are making this thing of the big mark on his back of his leg. Is that real or is that fake? The point of it is you don't belong in there. There's a difference between Logan Paul that's trained to get in there than Speed. No, I didn't like that. That was my least favorite part. Except for when he got his brakes blown off by Braun Breaker. That was epic.
Yeah, that was a major spear. And when Tripp said we need a replacement, I was like, yes, who's it going to be? Right. What do you call it? I was like, who?
That whole segment was dumb. Whatever that blonde-haired, who got taken out?
Tajiri.
Because his music was playing and that's a former winner. Yes. That's a guy who's won before.
Yes, and I'm like, oh my god.
So I knew you were going here. There's
no reason for that. There's no reason for that at all in a main event like that.
I know, but you have those. You've always had those. Think of like Drew Carey when he came down and he eliminated himself. When he tried to offer, like he saw Kane and he was like, "No, dude, I'm gone."
Last year.
I mean, that was good, I guess. I was shocked by the winner. I'm not mad at the winner. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
It makes sense I guess. But I just liked all the story building that they told. I mean, I love Drew McIntyre's expression after he got knocked out of there. It's like he was pissed. Pissed. And
did you hear the story on that though? Why he was actually mad? He wasn't mad because he got eliminated.
What was he mad at?
He was mad at LA Knight. I don't know how true it is, but
that's a big thing that's been going around.
LA, when Damian was trying to throw him out and stuff, like it kind of messed everything up.
Yes, I remember that. Yes,
he was actually really pissed about that.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. That's like legit heat. I've been hearing about that all day. So,
Yep. And I was
I
actually
know.
like, we're at the party, and when Otis comes down, I said, "Watch, guys. He's gonna go in the back of the corner. He's gonna do his worm, get up, do something, and get knocked out." And exactly happened. They looked at me like, "How, Mr. Scott? How do you know that?" I said, "It's just I know." But
Because you know.
yeah. But it was good, and it ended really good with Cena passing the torch. You know, that was phenomenal. So yeah,
I hate to, yeah, and I hate to interject, but we're talking about the things that people do, and I know it's in creative's hands. I understand that, but sometimes people like they're letting him tell his story
Yes.
the way that he wants to do it on the farewell tour, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
The guy could have said, "Yeah, I want to go over,"
Yep.
and I don't think Triple H would have said no. I don't think anybody on that roster would have said no, because he carried that company.
Yeah.
Like they would have been like, absolutely, you do that. But the fact that when it got down to those two, and after the shock of everything that happened, and then the amazement when Paul got eliminated, and then you realize it's down to just Jay and Cena, and you hear the crowd chanting, "This is awesome. This is awesome." It's like you were kind of sitting there like, you know what? I don't hate either one of these guys.
Right.
And I think that's what the realization that was sinking in right there is like, they got it. They got it. And that's the whole thing about the Rumble is just getting it right, but telling stories at the same time, having little things happen. And they got that right. And it could have been him that went over like Charlotte Flair, but it wasn't. Instead, he said, "Here, Jay, that this is your time. And, I'm going to put you over," even though that's the last time he'll ever be in that Rumble.
Right.
So it's, again, very unselfish for a guy that some people said buried young talent, blah, 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 did all these things. Dude's freaking he's been unselfish for years.
Yes.
Years.
So what do you guys think about going forward? Okay, Jey Uso wins, right? In the ring, he went blows with Roman. He went blows with Jimmy. He went blows with Fatu. All the Bloodline people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Braun Breaker. After he wins it, there's footage out there that shows him getting hugged by Roman Reigns, getting hugged by Fatu, getting hugged by Jimmy. Because that footage is out there, does that take away from a possible storyline with him against any of those guys? Because of the backstage footage that you see, how believable is it going to be for him to go after a Roman Reigns or a Fatu?
No, and for me, I look at it as like, like breaking kayfabe, but at the same time, it's like it's not a bad thing. I look at it as like Deadpool, like breaking that fourth wall there, and like showing another side of it, because it's like you said earlier, it's sports entertainment,
right?
Yeah,
so it's when I saw that, I was just like, it just shows like, hey man, this is family and they're tight together,
and then family can fight, right? And that's why I looked at family together, but in a minute they can fight if they have to.
Mm-hmm.
So let's forward to Monday Night Raw.
Real quick, last thing about the Rumble. I love how Logan got eliminated. Just love it.
Oh yeah,
super kids, and then Cena clotheslined him out.
Bam! Knocked him right over the top. Yep. And the last thing too, I was going to say, the only one of those where I was like, oh, as a fan, was Jacob Fatu, because Roman, they're still on the same side of the fence here.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Roman and Jimmy, you know what I mean? All that, like, they're still on the same side of the fence. Like but it's every man for themselves. But when I saw Jacob come up and hug him, I was like, oh, as a fan, again, you can do it. They're good enough to completely create legitimate heat. You know what I mean? Where people actually look at Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Like, and need I say more?
Yeah, and
they can do it. They're good enough.
I think they're going to go for the bloodline anyways. They're all going to be family once again, somehow, some way. That's going to turn into something. But Monday Night Raw, I'm just going to say this. Netflix, in my opinion, is giving us more backstage promos than wrestling.
Yeah.
You see a
There's
lot
more talking.
You see a lot more talking than you do wrestling.
And interviews after matches are over, and I'm like, why?
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to take one shot at Jey Uso, the champion. I did not realize he sucks on the mic. At least on Monday Night Raw, he sucked. Now, it was pointed out to me that there was a lot of emotions that he was dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
But it almost felt like he didn't know what to say.
No, I'm sorry. I saw him getting choked up, and he was trying to catch himself getting choked up. It was like that time when the whole Uzi first came out. He was trying not to laugh, and he's like, but you could see it like tears. He's just getting choked up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
he's always struggled with that. And with that, I'm implying staying in character,
right?
Because he's just like he's that again like Rico said with the Uzi thing. He's not feeling very Uzi lately, right. And you can see him he's supposed to be furious at Sami Zayn, and instead he starts laughing and he's got to cover his mouth. Like he's always been that way. So when he came out, he was overcome with all that emotion because he was never supposed to be that guy. He's a tag team guy. He's all this. And when he was in character, then he was doing his promos, but he couldn't separate them. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's why it probably looked that way, but he was just himself.
So that makes sense. Thank you, Nikki, for explaining that way, because that makes sense now.
Yeah.
You've never been in that spot, first of all. Then you got to stay in character and emotions. I mean, I don't care. And it showed in that promo. You can be a character in a sports entertainment position where the title really means jack to crap to anybody, right? It's not a Super Bowl ring. It's a storyline championship. But the passion that these guys have for the sport of wrestling, I love seeing the emotions.
Oh yeah.
He's going for that championship. Oh my God, I finally can do it. I know I can do it. And overcome with emotions was.
Yep.
It's something that it wasn't scripted, right? He's coming out to talk about it, but you can't script your emotions.
Nope. I think they let him come out there. I think they let him come out there and talk. And there's another thing. There's another element that they know about. A lot of the workers, they always talk about it. You don't know how people are going to treat you. You have no idea. And you could leave, you could get a pop or something like that at like the Royal Rumble. But then when you come out on that Raw, maybe people aren't very happy that you're the winner.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you never know. And again, this is a guy who was always a tag team guy. He was told you're not a singles competitor, this and that, and all those negative things. He comes out. He doesn't know how people are going to treat him. He's just hoping that they're going to treat, and they blew the roof off. They loved him. They just kept cheering and chanting and, doing that whole, just on and on and on and on. And I think it got to him.
Yeah, maybe.
It got to him, honestly, because he just was. And I know we're not there yet, but, the other Royal Rumble winner comes out later on in the show and gets a completely different type of reception.
Right.
And again, that's the thing is you don't know how because the fans respond how they want to. They pay their ticket. They'll cheer if they want. They'll boo. You don't tell them what to do. Right. Like this isn't, Jerry Springer or whatever, where they freaking tell you, hey, clap for these people, boo these people. It's not some stupid thing. This is real. And the fans are telling you, they're going to tell you if they appreciate you or not. They appreciate the heck out of him. And I just think it got to him.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But he's always been that way. There's that whole secret about how he hates pancake houses. The Waffle House. Waffle House, that's what it is. The Waffle Houses. Him and Jimmy can't stand Waffle Houses. So Sammy in that one backstage interview, he was like, we're going to go to the Waffle House, man. when Sammy was telling that to the Brett, and there Jay broke there too. He was like, and Jimmy, it's hard to tell because Jimmy's always laughing.
Yeah.
But Jay, he broke Jay there too. It's like it's just with a little inside joke that Sammy knew. Oh, hey, Waffle Houses, I'm going to throw that into my promo.
Right.
So, yeah.
Gold. So Rico, I know we only got about 5 minutes. So Rico, tell me your high points and low points of Raw in your opinion.
My high point there was actually I would say I was kind of torn about it, but at the same time I was happy for him was when CM Punk beat Sami Zayn. And it was a legit clean win. Nobody interfered. I mean, Seth tried getting him at the beginning, which I love because they're showing so much heat with those two right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's legitimate heat. But I really love that match. It was a great match. And, at the ending, I just real quick, I turned my head for a quick second. And when I turned, I could have sworn it looked like Sammy had knocked Punk out of the ring. I didn't notice KO at first. I was like, did he just turn? But then I rewound it and I was like, oh, okay, KO.
Mm-hmm.
But my I would say my low point of Raw was I honestly didn't really. There was nothing that really stuck out the irritation except for once again, not hating on her, but Charlotte coming out and Nikki, you pointed out where she did not get that reception like Jay did.
Right. 100%.
And I was just like, oh, I'm kind of telling you right there. Everybody's letting you know they're a little upset about that. Like when Roman won, they showed you they were upset about it.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't over
The
yet.
whole promo with Charlotte Flair was it looked off. It looked weird in a sense.
Yeah.
And Rhea Ripley stole that show. That was all her. I again, not dogging on the Royal Rumble winner, but Charlotte Flair did not get the. I think they were all shocked that the fans did not welcome her like they thought they would.
Mm-hmm.
But I think again, is it because the build up we knew? I think as a fan, I knew Charlotte Flair was going to win the Rumble. So, oh well, she's back. So what? Okay. And I've never been a Charlotte Flair fan anyway. But that was a bad promo section. My favorite, not that I'm going to let Nikki D close it. My favorite part was the KO, Sami Zayn, CM Punk interaction. That was amazing match between Sami Zayn and CM Punk. Off the chart. Probably the best match of the night. Least part of the thing was New Day and Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee. Again, that jackwagon of Logan Paul had to put his nose in it. I cannot stand him. Cannot stand him. And
good heat.
Maybe that's why I don't like. He's doing his job, as my brother would say.
Yep.
But overall, the show was good, not bad. But my only complaint is I'm seeing less wrestling and more talking on Netflix than it used to be.
I agree with that.
So, Nikki D, your final thoughts on Raw?
Sorry, real quick. Why are we not utilizing Carrion on freaking Netflix?
Except for that 2 second. That pissed me off too because he showed up for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Sorry, I want to switch that. That's my low point because that's my guy, and I want him to get that push. Yeah. And it's just like, Yeah. Unless he's got some kind of injury and he really can't wrestle, so that's why they're just doing little promos here or there.
Yeah, but I love how they inserted him into that whole KO Sami Zayn thing, into that Sami Zayn story. That's going to be your next big story, I think. It
could go somewhere with it. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, Nikki D.
I'll start with the low point, and for me, it was probably. I feel like Charlotte Flair is one of the best to ever do it, but I just think sometimes you have to read the room. And her promo was awkward, and she kept thanking the fans. And she said she went through really tough times. She's talking about her personal life and all these things. She's given a promo as a babyface, and people don't care. They're booing her, and it's like sometimes you just got to kind of change. You know, you got to kind of. She knows she's an excellent heel.
Yeah.
Excellent. Just flip the switch. But no, she kept doing it, and she kept like, the boos would have bothered me before, but now I'm so happy to see you guys. And I was like, that's just awkward.
Yeah.
So as much as I respect her, and I really, really do, and I do think she's one of the best to ever do it, that segment was just awkward. And for my high point, it's different than you guys. And not that there was anything wrong with the main event. I watched the match that literally made me go, this is a heck of a match. It's way better than I thought it would be. And I can't believe I'm this into it. Liv Morgan, Io Sky.
Yes.
They went all out. The moves were crisp. The counters were sweet. And everything was perfect. And when I saw Rhea come, I remember I was like, oh, and I told my daughter, I was like, oh, shoot. And when she popped her, I was like, she's going to win. Liv's going to win by disqualification. And it was like, I was a fan, just watching that whole thing. That match was dope. Those two worked their tails off. I loved that. To me, that was my favorite part, was that match. And it is nothing against the rest of the show. That was my favorite part. I loved that match. They absolutely, dude, they went all out for Raw, for a match on Raw. So, yeah.
So Huge Pop Wrestling fans, that's been an hour of wrestling talk. We went over Royal Rumble, high points and low points of Raw. Look on the lookout. I think on Thursday I'm going to do a reaction to an independent wrestling promotion here in Panama City, XIW. They were Chaos in the Cage. Was December. We're going to go over that, and I can't tell the secret, but there's a secret. I'll tell you guys offline, just so I don't spoil it. There's a secret. We have a special guest on Friday, Football Friday. You're going to want to pay attention. You're going to want to wait for Max to put out the video. You're not going to want to miss this. I'm going to just leave it there.
Hideous.
Football Friday.
Football Friday. We got to wait for a time. That's why we can't put out the video yet. But tune in. Look for a advertising piece, because it's coming. We always say, thank you, Nikki D, for coming on. I hope you're feeling better. Reek, thank you for coming on. I love you guys as brothers. Don't go anywhere. Stay on here. I want to talk to you guys after the exit stuff. So, Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast. If you're not following us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or Kick, please do so. Also, you can follow us on Spotify, Apple Radio, and all those social media stuff of audio. So, thank you again for everybody coming out.
Appreciate it.
As always, Huge Pop Wrestling is for life.